You're watching Tag TV. I'm your host Tahir Gora in Candid Talk. Today I'm joined with an accomplished artist and a great social activist, Miss Asma Mahmood. Welcome, Miss Asma Mahmood. How are you?
Thank you very much, Tahir. It's a pleasure to be at this program. I've been following you and your progress in terms of media for some times, and it is very heartening to see that your hard work is paying off so wonderfully. And thanks for having me here today.
Thank you very much. And today our talk is focused on Niqaab and burqa issue, which was banned actually just for oath-taking ceremony by former Minister Citizenship and Immigration, Mr. Jason Kenney, who's currently actually Minister for Defense and Multiculturalism. And that burqa niqab ban, just for that oath-taking ceremony, was meant to give a message that Canada wants to see the person Canada is granting citizenship. So recently, High Court gave a ruling, and according to that ruling, person can get a citizenship even the person is wearing burqa or niqab. So federal government is going to Supreme Court again and asking to repeal the law. So what is your take on it?
Actually, there are so many forums going on right now on Facebook and on the other media outlets that it is quite a fascinating read into Canadian psyche and what kind of people our countrymen are, especially non-South Asian, non-Muslim Canadians, and how they are reacting to this news. Of course, there are lots of people who have a take that yes, this gesture of Canadian courts is very weak and it should be disproved. But then there is a huge number of social activists and community members who are pretty forward in expressing their solidarity with the decision of the court, despite the fact that most of them don't believe in burqa as a clothing item which is repressive to women. It represents the repressing, the nature of burqa is repressive, and they understand that. Despite this, they are pushing, they're saying that the decision by Supreme Court is a great victory. So there are these couple of ideas that are floating around in the market, and those are the ones that we need to examine. There could be many reasons that because Prime Minister Harper and his cronies are involved in an election campaign right now, and the opposition, just to malign him and his ideas, are pushing for making it look like a composite argument that yes, burqa should be allowed and it's freedom of expression. But in reality, all these people themselves are against burqa, and any sign of repressive ideologies that burqa and clothing item related to that show.
As you were saying that on one hand, burqa or niqab is a symbol of repression or segregation. But on the other hand, some critics say that giving permission those women to put burqa on is kind of depriving them from opportunities that can guarantee them equal opportunities in this country. So how do you reconcile these two things?
I don't believe that burqa can stop you from doing your work or your chores or things like that. It's not that. I think burqa is perfectly all right if somebody chooses to wear burqa and all. But I feel that there are two things we have to look at in order to make sure that I come back to and revisit this idea that I'm discussing. But the first thing is, why burqa? Burqa was, kind of maybe a traditional thing of Arab tribes, because they were in desert areas, too much sand and everything. You needed to cover your face with something, so burqa was there. But there was no burqa for Arab women even in 1800s. If you see the photographs, the photographic record that we have, the earliest photographic record that we have, and which is still in France, in Paris, in this amazing collection of this French photographer who sent photographers in every part of the world that was known at that time in 1800s, in 19th century. And they took the photographs in Saudi Arabia as well, and they took photographs of women there, and none of them had face covered. There was no face covering. These were all these women who were Badu women, who were women of tribal chiefs and all that, and they had no problem getting their photographs taken, and those records still exist. So when we think of modern Arab women and the kind of coverings and facial coverings and the niqabs and all those, we realize that those are relatively new introductions in even Arab communities, and those and as a result, because of the modernization of Arab world and so much employment for people available there, especially white people, that it has become fashionable to be in Dubai or Abu Dhabi, and those countries have taken on the Western values of capitalism very well. And are contributing to it in a very big way. So automatically that's become a fashionable thing to do. Then there is a whole generation of Pakistanis, Indians, Bangladeshis who have grown up in those countries, in Saudi Arabia and all these, and for them that is a cultural thing, and they're comfortable doing that. And that is exactly when we come to the case of Zunaira, this lady who insisted on taking her oaths, citizenship oaths with niqab. So it's got nothing to do with religion really. It's got everything to do with fashion, because according to the religion, the veil or whatever, hijab and everything, the premise of it was to dress up modestly, with modesty, so that people don't look at you out of the ordinary, that you don't look like totally out of ordinary, so the basic premise for that was modesty or not being noticeable.
Right, now, Asma, I'm interrupting you, but no as you saying that actually burqa is not required by religion. It's a kind of cultural tradition, it's kind of a fashionable thing. So then why we see so much uproar within Canadian Muslim communities that they are making it a faith issue, not a fashion thing, and they are saying that according to their faith, most of the Islamic groups are saying this over and over, that according to their faith, burqa is required, and Canadian government and Canadian society should allow those Muslim women who want to wear it. So why is it so?
I am not a religious scholar, despite my best efforts to learn about religion. Because there's so many complications in this. My area of expertise, I would say, is social and cultural ramifications of an issue. So when I look at the cultural aspects of it, I can see that our communities have, over the years, taken it for granted that the Canadians, especially media, has taken it for granted that Arab representation is the best representation for Muslims. And there is apparently nothing we can do to dissuade that, because when you see a white Canadian converting to Islam, they immediately wear an Arab dress in order to prove their religious status. But putting that aside, when you say that Muslim groups and all these groups are vehemently trying to push for Zunaira's right to take citizenship, oath of citizenship. The premise is again the same. It's of taking advantage or trying to put themselves in a position where attention is given, focused on them, even though the issue of clothing should be the last thing that should be made made into an issue, really. Whatever one wants to wear, one can wear. It's very much allowed in Canadian. It's allowed in Canadian Constitution. It's allowed in Canadian society. Nobody stops you from wearing what you want, unless you make an issue out of it. Why was it so hard for Zunaira to take off the veil and say her citizenship oath and then put that veil back up on? Why is it so hard for women to take off their veil and eat food properly in a restaurant and then put their veil back on? There is nothing seriously or deathly wrong about it. It's just a matter of gaining more attention. It's a way of just like a woman would maybe go topless in the street to get some attention, the same way I think a woman would go with face covered into the street, because that is an attention grabbing mode. You just want to prove to everybody that you are somebody. What that somebody is, that is anybody's guess, but with the banner of Islam, you feel that it is your right for everybody has to accept you the way you are. Well, I won't. I refuse to talk to women who have their face covered because it's impolite. I want to see a person's face when I'm talking to them. And that's just polite attitude. We live in a world which is very connected. We live in a society which is amazing, which is so unconcerned with the way you are dressed. You can be wearing simplest of clothes. Nobody is going to irritate you. But if you are going to walk in a nice sunny summer day when everybody is walking out on street in your black burqa, you are the one who's going to look out of place. Not only out of place, you will be the center of everybody's attention. And that was precisely why I think the idea of covering up modestly was introduced, not to become an object of other people's attention. So it's an oxymoron when we say that burqa is supposed to, is something which is prescribed in religion. It has absolutely no relevance in anything that has anything to do with common sense.
Asma, you were saying that wearing something or not wearing anything is a choice of a person. But also you were equating two things together, sort of going topless in the bazaar and wearing burqa, and it's kind of a grabbing attention from the people. But the thing is, burqa or niqab is not actually dress. It's kind of a mask. It's a little more than dress. It's something that you put over the dress, concealing your identity. And in our today's world, we believe, especially in our part of the world, that concealing identity should not be allowed. What would you say on this?
I don't mind concealing. You want to conceal your identity, you want to wear a mask, please go ahead, do that if it makes you comfortable. But then don't expect everybody to agree with it. Don't expect everybody to jump on it and say, oh yeah, fine, you come in front of me covering your face and I will be fine talking to you, or it's your legal right to get a response from me. It's not the case. Then if you are going to be rude that way, then I can be rude by not responding back to you.
It means you are saying that if someone wants to exercise one's rights to cover oneself, then the other has right to not talk to that person, and other has right to ask the person that I would only talk with you if you reveal your identity. Am I correct?
Absolutely, absolutely. That has to be there.
So there are some progressive Muslim groups. They are demanding actually more than that. What Minister Jason Kenney did, that he banned burqa only for oath-taking ceremony. But some of the progressive Muslim groups, they are asking to ban burqa in all public places. What is your take on it?
Well, you see, We as Muslims have been able to rile up people against us in such strange issues that it boggles my mind. Look at France. What perfectly decent, comfortable people, and they have gone ahead with the most stupid idea of banning hijab in public sphere for France. Now that's also a reaction, and that reaction has been elicited by the actions of Muslims themselves. Look at what happened with Charlie Hebdo and all these violent actions to unnecessarily claim a certain space or certain right under the premise of religious indignity incurred to the Prophet, or under the guise of religious sanctions and so on and so forth. So we are automatically looking at a state where we are going to push other people to that extent where people will start asking to ban the burqa, and that state should never really come. These things should never become an issue, because they are non-issue, and they have been pushed into this arena of political fight without any substantial reason or rhyme or reason for that matter. I really love a piece by Rashid Rana, who is a Canadian Pakistani artist. And it's a very strong piece, and that tells you everything you want to know about burqa and the ideas around burqa. Rashid Rana is a digital artist and one of the most well-known artists from South Asia in the world. And this particular piece is called The Veil. When you enter the room where the piece is displayed, you see these various big canvases with women in burqas, and these are digital images. So that means that they're comprised of small pixelated images which are placed in such a way that it turns into big veils. I hope that you will be able to get that for us and show our audience. And when you go closer, you see that those veiled women are actually, they're in those shuttlecock burqas. They're huge, massive images about 8 feet high. And then you take a look at it and you find out that those images are pixelated images of pornographic images from internet. So what Rashid has done is he has taken these pornography images from websites and from internet, and he has composed them in such a way that the entire composition looks like there are women wearing burqas there. And I think that is absolutely the last word in terms of what burqa is all about. It's that idea that men have introduced in order to protect their own women, or a premise to control their own visibility and their own ability to become an active participant in the community. And I think it's a great disservice to men themselves that men have introduced an idea that men cannot be trusted. And apparently it's only Pakistanis and Indians and Arab men who cannot be trusted. Otherwise, women all over the world, rest of the world, walk around in jeans and skirts and blouses and everything, and there, other than the regular, usual number of catcalls or people deciding to jump on them, there is no fear for women to walk around in the clothing of their own choice. So I don't understand why Muslim men are hell-bent on proving that they are so weak and their moral values are so defenseless in the face of a woman who is not wearing a veil. I don't know, maybe you have a better idea on that. I wait to hear your point of view on that.
No, very interesting perspective, and you are certainly providing us artistic as well as philosophical perspective other than political or theological. And as you asked my take on this thing, is very difficult to say. I agree with you that if we uh, live normal life, there is no need of such inhibitions from each other as mankind. So that's for sure. But the issue is today is political, and it's kind of some critics says that it's a kind of an attempt to 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 spread radicalization in Western world. So, do you think that by such efforts from some of the Islamic groups, do you see that those critics are right when they say that there's an attempt to spread radicalization?
No, I don't think, I really don't think radicalization is an issue here. I feel that the communities in the Western world are very much aware of the fact what radicalization in Arab countries and Pakistan and to a certain extent in Bangladesh has done to their population, what harm it has brought to their reputation around the world, and are very mindful that as our generations, as our next generation, comes into into the political and social and arena, that they will realize that the religion has to be a personal choice. It has to be something that should garner respect from all corners. But in order to get that respect, you have to be respectful of other people's opinions and other people's views as well. And once we develop that sense of acceptance, of realizing other people's choices, and I think that the communities will turn out to be better. The situation will become better, and the ideas about radicalization and their spread will definitely be, will at one point or the other will become diluted to an extent where people will react against it in a more effective manner, instead of just attacking things or ideas which can be constituted as radicalized ideas. Maybe there will be discussion that will take place. Zizek wrote, when the Gulf War started, he wrote some beautiful pieces, and I'm really amazed that so many people do not read Zizek and how he has treated the ideas about why wars happened and what will be the results of that. He was writing about the results or ISIS kind of creations back in 2001, and today, when we see the genie of radicalization completely out of its bottle, we are at a point where at least now we know what is the worst form of radicalization, and hopefully after this there is going to be only improvement in the way our ideas were about what should happen in Middle East, or how the shape of that region will end up after all these bloody wars and everything. And maybe next time when we plan to bring democracy to those parts of the world, we'll have better grasp of what those bringing democracy entails in terms of the growth or reaction.
So just to conclude our chat, what is your take on this issue, since we in the Western world call ourselves Western liberal democracies, and in that concept, how far can we accommodate religious accommodations?
If it wasn't religious, it would have been a political thought or a social thought or something or the other, because these are ideologies that have always existed and will always exist. I feel that the democratic system of the West gives us an ability to think and accommodate all those diverse ideas as well, and that is the reason why West is where it is today in terms of development, in terms of social and political development, in terms of justice system, and so on and so forth. And none of these values can continue to be of importance in these systems if we compromise even on one, saying, okay, just for this particular community we are going to remove this facility or this right for them. The rights will always have to be on all levels for all people.
Universal.
Universal, yes, but for at least for Canadians, it should be the values which should be across the board for all of them. The important thing is to make sure that there is no misuse of systems carried out. And the misuse of system is unfortunately carried out by political parties more than anybody else. During the election times, they are ready to bend over backwards to accommodate the requirements or the desires of minority communities, and they will be all gung-ho to support them and all. And when the election is over and they've got the 4-year stretch in front of them, then the whole thing just goes down the drain. Today we are sitting there listening to this handsome young man, Trudeau, talking passionately about the rights of Muslims and the community, Muslim community, and so on and so forth. And we must not forget that it was Liberal government that went ahead and went on the warring path in the first place. So I think I really feel that this issue of Zanera and her face covering would not have hit the fan if it wasn't for the elections. I think so.
Thank you very much, Asma, for your thoughtful insight, and we are very grateful for your perception and for your perspective. Thank you very much for joining us.